love that I was sure would last forever. It's been a little over a year since it ended, but sometimes when the Texas sun hangs low and paints the sky in those fiery oranges and purples, I can still feel her hand in mine. Her name was Clara, and for one perfect year she was my everything. Our story began in the most Fort Worth way possible, under the neon lights of the stockyards in the spring of 2023. I wasn't looking for anyone. I was just out with some buddies trying to escape the monotony of my engineering job, soaking in the controlled chaos of a Friday night. We were leaning against a rail near the White Elephant Saloon when I saw her. She was trying to teach her friend, who was clearly from out of town, how to two-step right there on the brick-paved street. She was laughing, this incredible, uninhibited laugh that cut through the noise of the crowd and the distant sound of a country band. She had this wild, curly brown hair that bounced with every step, and her smile, man, that smile could have lit up the whole damn city. I'm not the kind of guy who just walks up to strangers, but something pulled me toward her. I made some dumb joke about her friend's technique, and instead of brushing me off, she fired a witty comeback right back at me. That was it. That was the spark. We talked for what felt like 10 minutes but turned out to be 3 hours. We talked about our dreams, hers of being a graphic designer, mine of one day starting my own firm. We talked about our love for the city, for the weird way it felt like both a sprawling metropolis and a small town at the same time. When the night ended, I didn't just have her number. I had this buzzing electric feeling that I just met someone who was going to change my life, and she did. Our first date was a week later. I took her to Joe T. Garcia's. We sat in that legendary garden surrounded by fountains and flowers, and drank those potent margaritas, talking until the staff had to politely kick us out. From that night on, we were inseparable. Our life became a tour of everything Fort Worth had to offer. We spent Saturdays exploring the cultural district, walking hand in hand through the Kimbell Art Museum, where she'd explain the art to me with a passion that made me see it in a whole new way. We had picnics in the Botanic Garden, lying on a blanket under the Texas sky, making plans for a future that felt as wide and open as the landscape around us. We were solid. It was the kind of solid I'd never known. It was in the easy way we could sit in comfortable silence, the way she'd steal my French fries, the inside jokes that made us laugh until we cried. She'd come to my dingy apartment and fill it with life, leaving her favorite coffee mug on the counter and a tube of paint on the table. We'd spend evenings on the patio at Woodshed Smokehouse, watching the Trinity River flow by, sharing a plate of brisket and talking about everything and nothing. She was my biggest cheerleader, and I was hers. When she landed a huge freelance project, I took her to Rieta for a celebration dinner downtown, feeling prouder than if I'd gotten the contract myself. I fell in love with her in moments. I fell in love with her when she'd get a little dimple in her left cheek when she was trying not to laugh. I fell in love with her watching her meticulously organize her art supplies. I fell in love with her the night we drove out past the city limits, just to look at the stars, away from the light pollution, and she told me about her family back in East Texas with a vulnerability that took my breath away. Our relationship wasn't just passionate, it was safe. It was home. I had found my person. I was sure of it. The shift was so subtle at first that I barely noticed it. It started around the fall of 2023. She got a new job at a big demanding advertising agency downtown. At first I was thrilled for her, but the new job came with new colleagues, new pressures, and late nights. Our evenings at the woodshed were replaced by her coming home late, exhausted and stressed, smelling faintly of an office building and stale coffee. The easy conversations became interviews.
"How was your day?"
I'd ask. "Fine," she'd reply, her eyes already on her phone, scrolling through emails. The physical distance grew too. The spontaneous hugs stopped. When we lay in bed, there was a 6-inch gap between us that felt like a canyon. I told myself it was just the stress of the new job. I tried to be more supportive. I'd have dinner ready for her, run her a bath, give her space when she seemed to need it. But I was trying to patch a leak in a dam that was cracking from the inside. The real warning sign came one weekend when I suggested we go to the main St. Arts Festival, something she had been excited about for months. She hesitated, then said she had a work thing she couldn't get out of. I later saw a picture on a new friend's Instagram story. Clara, laughing with a group of her colleagues at a bar on West 7th. She wasn't at a work thing. She just didn't want to be with me. When I gently brought it up, she got defensive. God, can't I have my own life? You're so clingy sometimes, she snapped. The word clingy hit me like a punch to the gut. I was just trying to hold on to the woman I loved, who felt like she was slipping through my fingers like sand. From there it was a slow, painful decay. We started arguing over stupid things, the dishes, the laundry, my leaving my boots by the door. But we weren't arguing about the dishes, we were arguing because the foundation of our love was crumbling, and neither of us knew how to say it. The laughter was gone, replaced by a tense, fragile silence. I felt like I was living with a ghost, a roommate who just happened to look like the woman who once held my entire world in her hands. I felt a desperation clawing at my chest. I tried to plan dates to remind us of the couple we used to be, but it always felt forced, like we were actors reading lines from a script we'd forgotten. The end came on a Tuesday night in early December. It was raining, a cold, miserable Texas rain. She came home late, as usual. I was sitting on the couch, the TV off, just waiting. I think I'd known for weeks. She walked in and didn't even seem surprised to see me waiting. She put her keys on the counter with a quiet click that sounded like a gunshot in the silence. "We need to talk," she said, her voice devoid of any emotion, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was no big fight, no yelling, just a quiet, devastating conversation. She told me she wasn't happy. She said she felt like she'd lost herself, that she didn't know who she was anymore outside of our relationship. She said she loved me, but she wasn't in love with me. Every word was a calm, calculated stab into a heart I had so freely given her. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I was too stunned, too broken. I just sat there and listened as the woman I was planning on proposing to in a few months dismantled our entire life, brick by painstaking brick. She packed a bag that night. Within a week her half of the apartment was empty. The coffee mug was gone. The smell of her perfume faded. All that was left was the deafening silence and the ghost of her laughter in every room. Now the city is a minefield of memories. I can't drive past the Kimbell without seeing her face, lit up by the beauty of a Monet. I can't hear a two-step beat without feeling the phantom warmth of her hand in mine. Fort Worth was our city. We built our kingdom here, and now I'm just a tourist in the ruins of what we were. It's a special kind of hell to be haunted by a love that felt so real, only to find out you were the only one who believed it was meant to last forever.